Willie Mays baseball cards, all 56 wax pack dandies. If you're ever in the mood for a quick history of this great hobby's golden age, you may want to walk through a list of Willie Mays baseball cards sometime. In fact, right now is a pretty darn good time to do just that. Because you see, May's amazing career spanned from the very beginning of the Bowman Topps rivalry and played out right through the mid-1970s when Topps abandoned issuing cards and series in favor of dropping all of their 1974 checklists in one fell swoop. In between, Mays built a legend in the game that may never be matched, putting together a diamond resume that left him as probably the greatest center fielder to ever take the field. And over the course of his 23-year run in the major leagues, Mays appeared on well over 300 different cards. If we dragged every one of those out of our e-shoe boxes for this list, we'd be here until the New York Giants won another World Series. So we're going to bring a bit more focus to our rundown of these Mays pasteboards. Next are all the Willie Mays baseball cards issued through wax packs in all the major sets during his career, 56 in all. This video will be broken into 3 different parts. So, take a deep breath, grab some bubble gum, and get ready for all the glorious base cards, all the all-star cards, all the league leader cards, all the special cards. Every Willie Mays baseball card that ever made a little kid love a wax pack more than that needle rock he picked up from the creek bank. Note: card values gleaned from the PSA auction price realize tool using the most common graded condition for the set in question. 1951 Bowman Willie Mays number 305. The 1951 Bowman set lays claim to this beauty, the one and the only true Willie Mays rookie card, just as it does to the Mickey Mantle rookie card. And even though this one shows Mays standing in front of a tarp that's come loose on one end to reveal the barn hiding behind, it's a stone-cold classic. It really is gorgeous too, and the unusual background just adds to the mystique and nostalgia, invoking mental images of simpler times, when baseball cards made do with what they had. No batting gloves, sabermetrics, body armor, or cameras required. PSA 7 value, $25,000 to $30,000. 1952 Bowman Willie Mays, number 218. Not quite as dramatic as his horizontal rookie card, this second-year Mays is still amazing, and the background of nothing but blue sky adds a real Field of Dreams vibe to the card. This one will never touch its 52 Topps counterpart or the 51 Bowman rookie when it comes to value, but that means it's just a bit more accessible for collectors who can't afford a 5-figure cardboard. PSA 7 value, $6,500 to $7,000. 1952 Topps Willie Mays number 261. Of course, this is the Mays card that gets most of the attention, and it's the one that a great many collectors and casual hobby observers think of when they hear Willie Mays rookie card. It's all about the mystique of the first full Topps set, spurred on by the legend of the 1952 Topps Mantle 50 cards later in the run. It's a hobby tide that lifted all the cardboard boats over the last several decades, and Mays is no exception. In fact, this first Topps Mays card helped build the hype around the 52 set, so it's no surprise at all that this is still the most valuable say-hey card, pound for pound, or PSA grade for PSA grade. Is it the most aesthetically pleasing? That's for you, the beholder, to decide. For me, it's pretty far down on the beauty list, but right there at the top of the historically significant roll call. PSA 6 value, $20,000 to $25,000. 1953 Topps Willie Mays, number 244. Now, if you're into beautiful baseball cards, then the 1953 Topps Mays is probably right up your alley. Featuring a gorgeous, full-body, full-color painting of the young phenom, the 1953 Mays gives us our first view of the future Hall of Famer on the diamond. Probably. I mean, the background definitely has a baseball feel, but if you take out Mays from the frame, it could also be a pasture with a couple of farm buildings winking out near the horizon. But no matter where Mays is standing, this card will always maintain its standing as a hobby icon that can outwow most mere mortal cardboard swaths. PSA 6 value, $4,500 to $7,000. 1954 Bowman Willie Mays, number 89. After missing out on Mays in its landmark 1953 set, while the 1951 Rookie of the Year winner served in the military, Bowman brought Say Hey back in 1954. This one gives us the first smiling card of Mays, carried to collectors on the back of a big, full-color photo. There's no doubt where Mays is posing here either, as the dugout steps and the background are clearly visible. Not as popular as the cards that precede it, the 1954 Bowman is nonetheless a more affordable early Mays card. PSA 7 value $1,300 to $1,600. 1954 Topps Willie Mays, number 90. Bright and bold, you have to think this 1954 Topps Mays card helped to push collectors away from Bowman and towards the upstart card maker. After all, not only did you get all that pizzazz, you also got two images of the soon-to-be National League Most Valuable Player on one card. Also home to the Hank Aaron rookie card, the 1954 Topps set is the first to feature the two future home run kings in the same issue. The Mays is a classic 50s piece that invokes the essence of the era in a single glance. PSA 7 value $2,500 to $3,000. 1955 Bowman Willie Mays, number 184. Facing fierce competition from Topps and fighting for their hobby life, Bowman took one last shot at baseball cards and Willie Mays in 1955. The wood-bordered TV set theme is a love it or hate it type of affair for collectors, but the set is instantly recognizable and unlike anything that came before it. In this final Mays Bowman card, we get a shot at the superstar with his hands on his knees, outfield fence running behind him. As with the 54 Bowman Mays, this one is not Willie's most popular card ever, but it's a more affordable option for hobbyists looking to add a young Mays to their collection. PSA 7 value $1,200 to $1,500. 1955 Topps Willie Mays, number 194. Sticking with their two-photo theme from 1954, Topps turned their design sideways in 1955, creating plenty of space for a grinning Mays on this classic. And if the 54 Topps Mays didn't quite drive the nail into the Bowman coffin, this one at least swung the hammer. The 55 Bowman Mays is nice and all, but the Topps card is a work of art by comparison. PSA 7 value $4,000 to $5,000. 1956 Topps Willie Mays, number 130. If that headshot on the 1956 Topps Mays card looks familiar, well, that's probably because you just finished looking at it on the 1955 Topps Mays card. Same photo, just move to the left. Topps also freshened things up by ditching the swinging figurine in lieu of a full card background action shot, showing Mays sliding into home plate. Looks safe to me, don't you think? This is a classic card, but the recycled photo is one of the early indications that Topps wasn't above economizing here and there once they dispatched their competition to the big common bins in the sky. PSA 7 value $1,500 to $1,800. 1957 Topps Willie Mays, number 10. After playing around with their card sizes for several years, Topps landed on a 2.5 by 3.5 inch format for their second full competition-free year. As it turns out, they had just set a new standard that persists to this day. Fitting, then, that one of the most gorgeous cards in the set belongs to another standard bearer, one Willie Howard Mays. Of course, there are probably hundreds of cards in this set that can vie for the title of most beautiful, but few of them carry the Mays mystique or price tag. PSA 7 value $1,000 to $1,500. 1958 Topps Willie Mays, number 5. Returning to a solid background for the first time since 1954, 1955 if you count that wavy fade thing, Topps gave collectors lots of headshots and grainy posted swings of their 1958 issue. Mays gets the head and shoulders treatment, not the most attractive of his cards, but a nice period piece, and the first card to feature him as a member of the San Francisco Giants after the team moved west for the 1958 season. PSA 7 value $1,000 to $1,300. 1958 Topps Rival Fence Busters, Willie Mays and Duke Snider, number 436. As if seeing Mays on a San Fran card wasn't hard enough for the fans back in New York, Topps rubbed more salt in the wound with this special card featuring Mays and Los Angeles Dodgers star center fielder Duke Snider. Like Mays' Giants, the Dodgers had come west in 1958, leaving Brooklyn fans battered and bleeding back home. Of course, there was a whole new set of fans out west to welcome the Sluggers and their teammates, and the Giants-Dodgers rivalry lives on all these years later. And if you're looking to get the most talent and home runs for your buck, you might have trouble finding a rival for this card. PSA 7 value, $150 to $200. 1958 Topps Willie Mays All-Star, number 486. In 1958, Topps introduced All-Star cards for the first time, featuring the Sport magazine selections of the game's best players. This was a boon for collectors longing for the good old days, 1955 and before, when they could get more than one card of their favorites. By '58, Mays was already a four-time All-Star, with a fifth selection on the way that summer. No surprise, then, that he graced one of these star-spangled goodies. PSA 7 value, $200 to $300. 1959 Topps Willie Mays, number 50. In 1959, Topps let collectors look through the porthole to get a glimpse at what their baseball heroes were doing on the other side. Why a porthole? Hard to say. Maybe it was intended to be a knothole, like in a wooden outfield fence, or maybe Topps was intent on trying out their construction paper skills. Whatever the case, the result for Say Hey is a pretty tight headshot that shows a pensive Mays without the distracting ballpark ambiance. PSA 7 value, $700 to $1,000. 1959 Topps Willie Mays, the catch, number 464. In the 1954 World Series, Mays famously perpetuated a bit of fielding thievery that became simply known as the catch. On that play, in Game 1, Vic Wertz of the Cleveland Indians drove a ball deep into center field. Too deep, in fact, for mere mortals to track down, and the Polo Grounds crowd thought their team was doomed. Willie Mays was no mere mortal, though, and not only caught up to the ball, but hauled it in over his shoulder, and then wheeled and fired the ball back to the infield. 5 years later, Topps commemorated the moment on this exciting three-panel card that still gets your heart racing today. PSA 7 value, $200 to $400. 1959 Topps Willie Mays All-Star, number 563. Topps was back with another run of All-Star cards in 1959, and of course, Mays was back in the lineup. This time, National Leaguers got a red background as opposed to blue in 1958, giving the Mays card a bit of extra pop. PSA 7 value, $250 to $300. 1960 Topps Willie Mays, number 200. Returning to the horizontal format for the first time since 1956, Topps also gave collectors a double shot of Mays and others on one card in 1960, a large, colorful headshot and a small black and white action shot. Though Mays doesn't look all that happy in the main photo here, the card has become a hobby classic and makes a great centerpiece or standalone display item. PSA 7 value, $700 to $800. 1960 Topps Master and Mentor, Willie Mays and Bill Rigney, number 7. This is Mays' second multiplayer card, though the other player in this case was Giants manager Bill Rigney. There was never any doubt about who the star of this pasteboard was, of course. A point underlined when Rigney was fired in June of 1960, less than halfway through the Giants' first season in Candlestick Park. Even as one of the weaker entries on our list, this one is still a vintage Willie Mays baseball card, which makes it an all-time winner. PSA 7 value, $40 to $70. This is the end of Willie Mays baseball cards, part 1. Look for the link to part 2 and part 3 in the description below as they become uploaded to YouTube.